Okay. If you strove to be a billionaire one day, guess what? Guess what you got to go through to get that millionaire status, then multi-millionaire status, right? Then they start counting how many, you know, numbers in front of the actual second comma, right? 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure, 10-figure. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just, they start counting them, right? And so it's all about the journey. Like the late great Jim Rome says, don't become a millionaire based on how much money you get to earn. Become a millionaire based on the person who you have to evolve into to become a millionaire, to get that money to flow to you, the skill sets that you have to develop, right? The people, the relationships, and everything that you have to, attract. This is a whole lot into it, and so um, think from a mindset of a billionaire. Okay, that's why the night's title, Mogul Monday, Billionaire Mindset. Okay, and so these are not in any real order, but the one thing I will suggest that you do first and foremost is create a billionaire mastermind team. Okay, that would be the first thing. So you have a lot of billionaires that are out there, and you have some billionaires that have passed on and moved on. Okay, doesn't matter whether they're living, doesn't matter whether their legacy has survived them. It doesn't matter. It's the wisdom. Okay, create a billionaire mastermind group. Jim Rome is a part of my billionaire mastermind group. Dale Carnegie is a part of my billionaire mastermind group, right? I have people like 50 Cent, who's a part of my billionaire mastermind group, right? So when you have people who you can learn, I can learn from them while they're here. I can learn from them while they're gone, because even when they're gone, the teachings and their lessons are still here, survive them, and people are still learning and growing from them. And the more and more people learn from them and grow from them, the more and more they preach about it, teach about it, and they just keep that person alive through their work. That's one of the things that I've always said I want to do. I want to be survived by my work. I want to be survived by my impact. And again, if people are not talking about you when you're gone, that means that you have no impact. Okay. I want to leave something here. And the people who I'm studying have left things here or will leave or have already put themselves in a position that when they leave, they will have already left their mark on society. But that millionaire mastermind class, you ask yourself, what would Jim Rome do in this moment? What would Dale Carnegie do in this moment? Okay. If you like Bill Gates, what would Warren Buffett do in this moment? Would he invest this? Would he invest that? What would he say about this? Okay. And think about it from that perspective. And there's a movie, again, I'm as a documentary, and I've mentioned this before, and I'm gonna mention it again because I think it's so apropos for this situation and for tonight's training. But The Men Who Built America, if you haven't watched it, you need to. Again, the person gifted that to me for my birthday years ago, over 10 years ago, right? And gentleman out of St. Louis. And I can tell you, it's one of the most impactful things that I've ever seen in my life. So The Men Who Built America, if you go to, what's the name of the channel? They actually have it on the Animal Network. What do you call it? I forgot the name of the Animal Network, but it's on there. If you Google it, if you YouTube it, National Geographic, Dale Boudreaux, there it is. Johnny on the spot, right? National Geographic, The Men Who Built America. Watch it. Do yourself a favor, right? That whole entire little documentary, again, is something that I really took from and just really understood, on a whole entirely different level how billionaires think. Okay, so you're talking about the Rockefellers, you're talking about the Vanderbilts, you're talking about the Smiths, you're talking about all these people, Dale Carnegie, you're talking about all these people back in the day who were billionaires before, and the money that they made back in the day would be hundreds of billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars a day. Okay, and so Billion Mastermind class. Okay, Billion Mastermind group, Billionaire Mastermind group. The next one, you want to be a long-term, not short-term player. Now, you want to be a long-term, not short-term player. We all have things we got to do today to pay the rent, pay the mortgage. We got things that we got to do to catch up, and get from behind. We got to do those things, and that's fine. And even with short-term investments that bring volatile returns, if a person's going to do that, that's fine. But that can't be what your future is based off of. Okay. If a person is saying, hey, look, this is all I'm going to do, I'm just going to do short-term, high-risk investments. I'm going to gamble it all and roll it all. That person, again, that person is trying to get rich quick, and that's not a strategy. That person's hoping it works, and hope is not a good business strategy, right? Okay. If you do something quick, something gets you some real quick income, right? Do that, take that money out and parlay that money into something that will continue to grow after you pull it out and put it in a safer place. And so we have the long-term investments. Like I said, we have like Dr. April, Dr. Marika Gardner, Tanya in California. When you look at these people, they pull money out of Novatech when they hit big in Novatech, pulled it right out and they put it into the long-term investment. And we had Jeff, Mike, Daryl, Craig. When we hit big in SCF, they pull money out of SCF and they put it into a long-term investment. Right. And so they have money that they have grown at 20%, 25%, and 30% annually. Money that they're pulling out on an annual basis, some are pulling out on a quarterly basis. But again, they took the money and parlayed it into a whole entirely different category. And now I say, even though this is slow money, it's faster than traditional returns. Okay. Even though it's slow money, it's not as risky as the situation that we just pulled the money out of. And as you guys can see, tomorrow is not promised to anybody. Anytime you have a moment to where you can invest in something, always, one, take out your initial investment immediately. Two, as soon as you can, take out enough to reinvest, right? And then you're not only playing with house money, you're playing with house money on a whole entirely different level. Okay, but be a long-term, always see, what the future has for you. Always see the long-term, payoff, right? That's how you work your way out of a job. That's how you work your way into lifestyle and real true freedom. Okay. Let's see here. Also, you want to invest in people now that you may be able to call on in the next 3 to 5. This is the same thing. Invest in people now that you may be able to call on in 3 to 5 years. Okay. And so like you have people, like I have relationships from all my years in network marketing where I've coached people and mentored people. And a lot of them, I gave advice to that wasn't even in my group. Okay. A lot of them call me with opportunities, and I've called some with opportunities. And some of these people I've known for 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 7 years, it don't matter, but I poured into them, over time. And I built up enough relationship equity where I poured into them so much that I put value into them so much that, when I call on them, they have no choice but to be there for me. Right. So a lot of you have the ability to do the same exact thing. It doesn't have to be in network marketing. A lot of you have skill sets. A lot of you have businesses, brands. A lot of you have companies and tenure in companies that you can use to pour into other people. You can use to bless other people. Some of you have jobs that you don't want, but pay well, right? And you have people who want your job. What you should do is train as many people as possible to do your job at some point in time. One, you'll work your way out of it because once you have an exit strategy, you get out of that job, you can go back and now start a consulting firm to do what you taught them to take your job, to replace you. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. Those of you who have real estate licenses or mortgage licenses, again, there's abundance, there's surplus out there. There's no scarcity mentality for wealthy people. Billionaires know that there's enough money to go around for everybody, and they're not scared who they teach because they don't care nothing about competition. One, there's no competition for a person with a billionaire mindset. Nobody is willing to work as hard as a person who makes $1 billion. You're not built like that. You have to become that, right? And so a billionaire teach anybody. And I'm going to talk to you about the formula to get access to a billionaire in a minute, but pour into people. And because you don't know who you're pouring into and who that person can become and who that person can become as it pertains to doing business with you or doing something with you or for you in the future. That person who you poured into that you see no value in right now, but you see some things in that person, You point to that person can be the very person to come and change your life, save your life, bail you out of some situations. Okay. So again, same thing. So yeah, if somebody reaches out to you when you are very, very successful, guys, respond and be happy to help. Okay. Be happy to help. And this is what I normally do for people who reach out to me. I'll say, okay, great. Happy to help. 1, 2, read this book. Once they read the book, 3, do this thing. And I give them a simple thing for them to do. And this is what you'll find. Well, as a matter of fact, let me ask you a question. Let's just say, and I've done this for way more than 25 people. How many of the 25 people do you think did anything that I told them to do? Let me see it in the chat. Okay, we got 2, we got 1, we got 5, we got 10, okay, we got 0. Okay, guys, the answer out of 25, every 25, you got 2. Because this is the thing, people will call you and people will ask you for stuff, and I'm gonna talk about this in a minute, but they want it the easy way. They want the shortcut. They see you as the shortcut, right? They see you as the person that's gonna do the work for them. That's why people make you pay for information, because if they don't, you'll take it for granted. Think about it. Millionaire Mindset call every Monday for years. You have people who have the audacity to show up. And not show up, and then have the audacity to complain about the job that they go to on Tuesday morning when they didn't show up on Monday night. Because it's free. Okay. It's a blessing, right? I poured it to people, and that's fine because, again, the person who teaches the most learns the most. So I've been able to perfect some things teaching you guys over the last, let's say, 15, 20 years. Okay. So I'm not at a loss. This is compound interest over years. I got network marketing in '96. Jeez, I shouldn't have said that out loud. But but I've been learning and pouring into people for a long time. So again, it's fine. But when people ask you for help, test them, challenge them, read this book, and do this one little thing. Make it a little thing. Let them surprise you. Okay. But when you reach out to successful people, reach out to them with value, asking for nothing. And I can just tell you, this is something I'm gonna talk a little bit more about in length. But the next thing you have, number 3, is learn the language of money. I'm gonna start to speed up a little bit because I got a lot. So I'm just gonna dump on y'all today. You can go back and watch it. But Lord's like, give it to me. All right. So, but learn the language of money. Let me share some with you. The less other people speak your language, guys, the more you can charge them, and the more they will rely on you. People are lazy. People pay for what? Convenience. We're in the information age, right? People are selling information. And if I can get the shortcut, which is information, I'm paying for convenience because I don't want to go learn it on my own. I'd rather have you do it. Everybody on here can learn how to do your own taxes, but you pay somebody to do it. And there's a lot of you guys on there, especially my blues. I wouldn't advise you to learn how to pay how to do your taxes. You should always pay somebody to do your taxes. It's always. I married somebody who can do them like I did, right? So, but again, guys, there are certain things that you should do that will get you closer to millionaire status, but you refuse to do. Okay. But learning the language of money is one of those things that you shouldn't bypass, guys. Anything that you need more of, you need to learn more about. This should be a priority. Okay. And so when you look at just the language, learning the language is like insurance and an investment for your money. Like an insurance policy for your money, make sure you don't lose it. Okay. And it's like it's also it's like learning the language also helps you grow it and scale it. Learning the language, again, attracts more money to you when you understand when you can comprehend a language and also speak it, right? So you can't learn it from broke people. Make sure we get that out the way. It has to be bought, it has to be taught, right? Or it has to be caught. got to be in proximity. It has to be bought, paying for courses, seminars, whatever, subscriptions, whatever. It has to be taught. You have a mentor, a coach, right? Or it has to be caught in proximity, being around people who understand money, who speak their language. I've had so many recordings because I was in proximity. I gained access and I was in proximity. So for me, being able to catch the information as it came by me, and everybody else was missing it, I'm on purpose. I'm catching it with my recorder. I'm not trusting my brain to get it. And 9 out of 10, most people know I never had it because my phone, I recorded. Okay. So it has to be bought, has to be taught, or it has to be caught in proximity. But you have to learn the language of money to paint or to point to a point where you become fluent in it, right? When you become fluent in it, it will have more conversations with you on how to scale it, okay, and how to make sure you get more of it in different spaces. The more and more you actually master the language of money, the more spaces will open up to you. You are like your background may be in medicine, but all of a sudden now you're making money in insurance. All of a sudden now you're making money in real estate. All of a sudden now because you're learning the language of money, and again, it's opening up more and more doors to you. But you have to find a way to normalize the comprehension of money and the conversation of money. It's got to be like breathing. It's got to go from second nature where you're really good at it and you think about it, and to the point to where it's like breathing. Okay, it's a subconscious thing where it happens without you even knowing it. It's oozing out your pores. It's coming out. You're having conversation with people. Now you're not skipping a beat, and people saying, "Man, Jason knows his stuff," right? So, but that's so important. But you can't save your way to wealth. You have to earn it, and that starts with learning how to communicate in it. Number 4, stand on your vision. Okay, I can tell you right now, the mass majority of billionaires were told that they shouldn't do it. The majority of billionaires, were told by people who love them, I wouldn't do that if I was you. I wouldn't try that if I was you. Okay. How many of you believe that people give you advice because they want to do what's best for you? Honestly. Okay. Okay. And that's false. People who give you advice, they want to do what's best for them. And what's best for them is to make sure that you're safe because they feel like they got to bail you out, right? Make sure you're safe, make sure you're secure. They don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you get taken advantage of. And so they're going to give you some advice, okay? Then you have some other people who, again, will stomp on your vision, okay? Because they don't want you to have one because they don't have one of their own. So now, again, they're doing what's best for them. They're doing what's best for their ego. They're doing what's best for their self-esteem. They're doing what's best for them, not what's best for you. So you have people who care about you who are still doing what's best for them, not just the haters, right? But stand on your vision, guys. I'm telling you, don't let anybody tell you what your vision should be. Stand up for it by standing on it. Just plant your flag right there. This is my vision. I own it, and I'm going to make it a reality. Think about it. The Wright brothers said, this is my vision, and people thought they was crazy. Neil Armstrong had a vision, want to be the first man on the moon, whatever. People thought he was crazy. Everything, your computer, not just the ones on your desk, the one that's in your hand, was a vision for somebody. And people thought that person was crazy. People were trying to stomp on that person's vision, but the person who made it a reality stood on it. Okay? So stand on your vision, guys. Don't let anybody take what's yours away. It's the only thing you got that means anything. It's the only, I just say a person with a vision has a will to live, has a reason to live. Okay. Number 5, embrace being a better vice president than president. Okay. Some of y'all don't know your role. Right. I was never a great basketball player. So if I wanted to play, if I wanted to be associated with the NBA, if I wanted to play basketball, I couldn't. But I could still be an agent and make a ton of money helping basketball players, right? I could be a person who created jerseys, or I could be a person who created fitted caps, or I could do something around basketball, right? Even though I'm not the president, the basketball player, I could be a vice president, cabinet member, and I could do a whole lot of other things around basketball. You know who you are. That's the thing. You know who you are, guys. But more importantly, you know who you're not. You have people who are out there, when they say you have too many, chiefs and not enough Indians, you have a lot of people who know for a fact they're not qualified to lead certain people, but they recklessly force their way into situations where they destroy people's lives and people's opportunities based on the fact that they don't know when to step back and let somebody go to real leadership. So for me, those you know me, one, I already understand. I don't want to own a network marketing company. I never did. But I made a lot of money, made millions of dollars being a great leader within those companies, being a great server within those companies, right? Decent speaker, above average trainer, never the owner, but I own my position within the company. It don't matter what company we're in. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want the responsibility. I want to have my life. So if I am in a position where I can scale my income or my returns to any amount that I really need or I really desire, why go out there and put all the pressures of the world on my shoulders and probably make less money because I won't be able to do all the things that make me money because I'm so busy trying to take care of everybody else and everything else when I'm not qualified to do it, or I'm not, or I don't want the response. I'm not emotionally tied to it. I'm not emotionally willing to tie myself to it. I know my position, right? I know what I'm strong at. I know what I'm not strong at. I know what I can do, and I know my abilities, but I know what I don't want to do, what I'm not willing to do. But again, when you look at that, um, think about this for a second. You're not in business to impress anybody because a lot of people put themselves in a position and they go do stuff to impress other people. Like you have people who are in occupations who go to college 4, 6, 8 years just to live up to somebody else's, idea of who they think that person should be, trying to impress somebody. You want to be miserable? That's how you be miserable. That's not who you are, guys. Let it go. Okay. But I can just tell you, when you look at the benefits too, guys, when you actually take a position that you're tailor-made for, okay, there's certainty in that. There's humility that comes with that. And this is why you're successful in this position, that subordinate position, that vice president position, that cabinet position, because there's certainty, there's confidence, there's humility, there's exponential growth, there's focus, there's respectability, excellence in your space and excellence in your abilities, guys. That you can't be stopped when you're in your position. Jim Collins wrote a book, Good to Great, and he talked about in that book, you know, there are some people on your bus who shouldn't be on your bus. First thing you should do is get them off your bus. And the people who should be on that bus, a lot of y'all have those people in the wrong positions. You got people driving your bus who should be sitting in the back of the bus. Get everybody who's on that bus in the right seat, in the correct seat, including yourself. Again, Jim Collins, Good to Great. If you haven't read it, or hadn't listened to it, check it out. But again, embrace being a better vice president than president. Play your role. Number 6, design financial freedom in business. Okay. Design financial freedom in business. When I say design financial freedom in business, this is you taking full responsibility of when you take the rest of your life off without depending on the government, without depending on somebody else's platform, without depending on somebody else's company. This is when you go out here and you build it. And you build it in a fashion to where it won't come. They won't come down. You build something that's recession proof. You build something that stands on a solid foundation, integrity, principles, and philosophies, and you build it. And then guess what you do after that? You build something else. You build a portfolio, but you build it. Everything you build is yours. That's the only way you can guarantee yourself financial and time freedom. It's the only way. My wife and I talk about it a lot. Like 2024 is a different year for us because this is the first year that we're putting us first. We've always put ourselves last, and we needed to do that. There was a time for that. But right now, in order for us to go out here and help the masses, we got to be selfish at this moment. We have to put ourselves first, and we got to go build something that we can stand on and people can stand behind. Go first. But the government's investments, they're great now, but how many of you think they're really going to be here when you need them? Right? These passive platforms, they're good for now. You can get money in, get money out, but they're not going to be here either. It's a lot of stuff that we're relying on and that we're praying that hangs around and that stays around. It's not going to be here. And I'm just telling you, if you don't build your own over time, guys, it's going to be our fault, not their fault. Yeah. That's why I encourage everybody, go build something. Go build a name, go build a brand. I don't care if it's an insurance business. I don't care if it's a real estate business. I don't care. Whatever it is, build something that can really build your brand, give you a name, so that can give you some extra resources. So now you can go out there and build something that'll last, that don't require you to be there. Okay. Let's see here. Number 7, the Warren Buffett rule. The Warren Buffett rule. Have an equivalent of an annual shareholders meeting every year for you and your people. He does it every year. Why don't you? If it's just 3 of y'all, have it. 10 of y'all, have it. 100 of y'all, have it. But have the equivalent of an annual shareholders meeting like Warren Buffett does every year. You need a moment to celebrate your top performers, the total team wins, even some of your customers and investors. You got to celebrate those people. You want to talk about new ideas, vision, acquisitions, trips, expansion, concepts, opportunities, and etc. But you have to have at least one time a year where you have your annual shareholders and board members meeting for you and your crew. Okay. Number 8, like I said, we're gonna move it on. You want the social media advantage. And some of you say, well, you know what? I'm not on social media. Okay. And money is not in your account either. Okay. It's not about what you like to do, it's what you have to do. Right now, some of y'all are not in I have to, got to, need to mode. Some of y'all, I'd like to. That's the mode you're in. It'd be cool to, right? Right now, remember, successful people create the conditions in their mind that they need to go out there and win. And some of y'all, again, even with your losses, still living a good life. And some of y'all with the losses, without a good life, again, you still act as if. Just want to make sure we upfront, want to make sure we're honest, want to make sure we're transparent with this whole entire thing, guys. Some of us need to change. And some of us is going to take us to lose everything in order for us to move. Right? The white overdue note is not good enough for some of y'all. That red one's got to come that says final notice. And you're waiting for it. Don't wait. Okay? Don't wait. The social media advantage, guys, this is what you do. With the social media advantage, market yourself and build your brand around your products and your lifestyle. So when you see people like The Rock, right? Dwayne Johnson, he has all kinds of Twitter accounts, all kinds of, he has all kinds of, let me see here, hold on 1 second here. Okay, he has all kinds of workout, videos and stuff like that. He has all kind of personal development things. He has all kind of family, posts and things like that. But what most people don't see, they see the sexy Rock, they see the tattoo Rock, they see the Rock with his wife, they see the Rock with the kids, they see the Rock kicking it with Kevin Hart. but they don't see his alcohol in the back that he brands. They don't see his other outlets, like his clothing lines. They don't see all the stuff that he's subliminally hitting you with, that he's making millions of dollars off of. And he has millions of viewers, millions of followers, right? In social media. 50 Cent does it differently, right? 50 Cent, everybody knows 50 Cent from trolling people, cracking jokes on people, throwing people, like just throwing jabs on people on social media. And I'm gonna just say he's a genius at it. And the more and more people talk about it, the more and more people laugh at it, more and more people despise how he handles his business sometimes on social media. Again, just like great press, bad press is great press too, because they're still talking about it. And the more and more they talking about it, the more and more they buying his alcohol. The more and more they're talking about him, the more and more they're watching his shows. The more and more they're talking about him, the more and more they're buying his clothes. The more and more they're talking about him, guys, the more and more money he makes. But he's using social media, and he talks about it, on all this. Like he says, he said, I stopped wearing like Gucci shirts and stuff like that. He said, I prefer to wear a white t-shirt. I'm not going to brand them. If it's not a G Unit t-shirt or my t-shirt, I'm going to wear a white t-shirt, because now it's time for me to continue to brand myself and build my brand. If the people not paying me to wear it, I won't wear it. And he get clean, right? But again, if it's just a designer tee, he gonna wear his own, or he gonna wear a plain white tee that he's going to market and brand himself. Some of y'all have brands in the industries, again, and go back on what I talked about earlier. A lot of y'all have achieved a measurable level of success with what you do already for a living. Take network marketing investment out of it. A lot of you guys are successful on your own rights. Doctors, lawyers, okay, people who practice on an array of independent contracting situations. And you have a name, you have a brand, you have a following. And while you're out there putting what you're eating on social media, which is cool, right? Wear a t-shirt with your logo on it. Okay. While you're out there taking a vacation, hashtag, your company, or put your links in your bios to your side hustle, your side gig, right? Don't just be on social media catching up. Don't just be on social media liking, loving, and commenting. That's cool. But while you're playing with the algorithms, play to win. Okay? These people are showing you how to make a fortune right there. And it's Taylor Swift, all these people, they're out here making a fortune. Just by people putting Taylor Swift on. Taylor Swift ain't even putting herself on social media. Her new boyfriend has increased the revenue for the NFL just on, I don't know if it was something, some portion of the NFL's income revenue increased by $300 million because of her. People putting memes and videos and stuff out there about her. Jersey sales also, attendance, attendance in football. They have millions of new fans, Swifties, who never watched an NFL football game in their life, but because Taylor Swift, they want to see Taylor dance at every time Kelsey makes a play. They can only see it on social media. She's building up a book of business. And guess what? For those of you who don't understand what I mean by that, that book of business is people. That book of business is capital. People are equal to capital. If you have people's attention, okay, and people are following you, people like you, and people do business with who? People who they like. And they trust who? People who they see on TV. So there's no reason, there's no secret why she's a billionaire. Okay? So again, Kardashians, don't care what you think about them. Okay? All of them, followers through the roof. All they have to do is endorse one product, be taken care of for the rest of their life. But they endorse many. But y'all have brands that y'all don't capitalize on. Y'all have names that y'all don't capitalize on. You have people that respect you and follow you, and you should monetize that. Okay? Be wise and incentivize. Be wise and incentivize. So what you want to do, for those of you who are in the position to, and you have teams, you have groups, you have employees, you have people who you actually benefit from when they actually do a job, or they perform a task, or they get a result. Guys, be wise and incentivized. Create opportunities for your team and your employees to have skin in the game. Okay. Like I remember we were doing investments. There were certain people who, if they referred, a certain amount of people and generated a certain amount of capital in some of these investments, we actually invested for them. Okay. We have people who have done work for us, right? That we've invested on their behalf out of our pocket, not theirs. It's incentive. And what gets rewarded gets repeated, right? So when you look at the people who you have in your team, guys, and you own, especially if you own companies, or you have the ability to increase somebody's commission splits, or at least give them a piece of yours. If they do just a great job, commissions is a way to incentivize. People love more money. Equity in transactions, equity in deals, right? Hey, you bring me a referral, instead of me giving you a bird dog fee, I give you a piece of the property. I give you a small percentage of the property, or a small percentage of the transaction. Okay. Equity in situations, ownership, okay, of deals, or ownership percentages, or even ownership in, think about it, for a person who's been at a law firm for years, all of a sudden they go from a person who worked at the law firm to having their name on it, becoming a partner, right? Person who worked in that network of doctors, instead of becoming just a doctor in that network, they become a partner and they get their name on the company, right? You have some people who own a portfolio of companies, and people do so well that they make them CEO or CFO or COO in those companies, giving them a prominent position, president in those companies, and that's control. They give them stock. Like Dale Boudreaux, he did so well in a company that people heard about him in the company, that the next company he went to, they gave him stock in the company just to come. Ownership. Be wise and incentivized. Okay. That's a whole other story right there. But even to the point to where, Jeremy, if you did so well working with me, that if you were going to leave my company and you needed a referral, not only would I refer you, I would make sure that my endorsement would be so great, they would have to make sure that they give you anything that you ask for. And if a person has my philosophies, has my principles, I incentivize by saying, hey, look, when you go open up a company, Marvin, let me know, because I'll invest in it. If it makes sense and it fits my portfolio, I want to, let me be the first person detail. Okay. And so that's the thing but when you have B players, I'm gonna talk about this, when you have people who are low performers, low vibration people who are just there, just existing, those are not the people you incentivize. But a lot of y'all incentivize people just like that, and you kill your deal. Talk about that in a minute. Number 10, your second million leads to your first billion. Your second million leads to your first billion. Okay. It's always easier to make your second million than it is to make your first. Because you don't know how to make the first one. You're working. Guess you're gonna make that off blood, sweat, tears, coachability, everything. You're putting it together and you're working, you're grinding. That first million comes. Now people know that you made a million. They want to do business with you. They want to tie themselves to you because they believe in you, they trust you, and they believe that anything that you do works, regardless of what area of expertise, what space it is. They feel like if you made a million once, you can do it again. So now you have reinforcements, and it's easy to make that second one. If you have a great foundation, you have great wisdom backed up from people who actually made billions now, they
what you want to watch.
They can take you.
You're gonna get really knocked out in a minute.
Somebody on a line.
Every night you about to get kicked out. You're gonna be sleeping in the living room.
Hey, James. All right. All right. Carly told y'all. Carly told y'all. All right. So that second million, when you make that second million, guys, okay, that means that you have more than one, and 1 + 1 don't equals 2. Right? It's exponential growth. Okay? And so now what you do again, while you're continuing to build on those systems, continue to add things to your portfolio, continue to scale the things you actually have, you're now again getting that mentorship and access from billionaires, and now they're teaching you how to take the next step. Yeah, but that first million, again, that's cool. But that second million is the one that leads you to the billion, right? So again, some of y'all, like when you think about this for a second, how many of y'all are familiar with Reese Witherspoon? Yeah, she's so adorable, grown woman, but she's so innocent looking, so adorable, right? And she's got a brand. That's like some people just like role, they typecast it, you know what I'm saying, for specific roles. She's always playing somebody sweet, right? That's how you see her. And guess what? She parlayed that to business outside of acting. How many of y'all know she got a book club? Okay. So this is the thing. A lot of people have a book club, but the cool part about her book club is this. She allows the people who write books to use her platform to promote their books, to use her name and her influence to promote their books. And guess what? She does it for free. Guess why? Because she's got an agreement with them that when you use my fan base, when you use my name, you use my brand, you blow up as an author, and somebody wants to make a movie out of your book, I get the first right of refusal to that book, to that movie. So nobody can get it before me, nobody can see it before me. I'm gonna blow you up. So I get the opportunity to say yes or no. I want to make the movie, and that's it. Guess what she did? She turned that into $1 billion business. She's earned over $1 billion, guys, with that business model. Guess what? Zero money out of pocket. Zero money out of pocket. Just telling you, Will Smith, how many of y'all can name an album that he wrote? He only got one that y'all know one song on. But he took that little bit of exposure and parlayed it into television and then parlayed that to one of the biggest box office smashers ever born, right? But different. Remember that first million he made was hard. That second million was easier. That billion was easier than it was to get to a million. So you got people out there, guys. I'm just telling you, they are doing some things. Rockefeller took the waste, the throwaway from kerosene and turned it to gasoline. Look at them now. What was waste? What was considered waste? Excess stuff that they threw away. Studied it and said, we can use this for something. You ever heard of plastic? How many of y'all think we can have a really good, nice life without plastic? Think again. You can't. Everything that you touch has something to do with plastic. And I'm not even talking about the bottle of water, all the stuff that you sleep on, drive in. So it has something. Plastic is all. Rockefeller did his thing. Did his thing. So again, a master class is the same thing. A lot of y'all have the ability to do a master class based on what you do for a living. Not what we do together, but what you do for a living. Today is about you. This is the billionaire you, right? So don't worry about your speaking credentials or your presentation credentials or how your recruiting credentials and network marketing, all that's irrelevant. A lot of y'all have been doing something for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, 25 years that you've mastered, and nobody knows about it. Put a spin on it. Learn how to teach it and create a masterclass out of it. Again, it's just another extension of what I just talked about. Your second million leads to your first billion. Number 11, mission impossible. This is be quick, but it'll be poignant. Most billionaires have a mission so big that it dwarfs the pain that comes with building towards the achievement of it. I'll read that one more time. Most billionaires have a mission and a vision so big that it dwarfs the pain that comes with building towards the achievement of it. See, when you look at a person who has a job, it's like, it reminds me of the story about the dog on the porch sitting on the nail and he didn't get off the nail. He was howling and everything. I'm not going to go through the story, but you know what I'm saying? Y'all have heard the story before. He didn't get off the nail because it didn't hurt enough. Okay, long story short, when you have, a job, it's like a dull, annoying, but tolerable pain, right? It irritates you. You can't really sleep a really good full night's sleep. You know what I'm saying? You toss and turn because it bothers you, but it don't bother you enough for you to change the situation. So you stay there. You can live with it. On the other hand, striving to become a millionaire or billionaire is like a roller coaster ride of excitement and heartache, more heartache initially than the excitement. But you know, at some point in time, by the time you finish that ride, you will have had the ride of your life and it will be well worth it. It's okay. Embrace the pain. What don't kill you makes you stronger, but what don't kill you in business will make you billions if you let it, if you learn from it. Number 12, talked about the wealth formula, how you access wealthy people. Okay. When it comes to, again, billionaires or people who value their time, who are multiple 7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure, this is the formula for it, guys. So when you look at billionaires, they look for humility plus willingness to do what's required plus ability times hunger equals the ideal vessel, the ideal student. Otherwise, they won't pour into people who don't meet that formula, who don't have that formula, because they know they're pouring into something that has holes in it. And they're not going to pour their time and their valuable resources in something that's going to spill out on the ground. That's never going to be used. Some people will contact a billionaire or a millionaire just to have access to that person because they like being around people who are special. And they'll get around that person and do absolutely nothing. I have a cousin literally who said, hey, cuz, this was years ago. Almost, I'll say about 8 years ago. Called me, say, hey, look, I need you, I want you to come to business with me. And, I'm about to do some trucking and need some money to buy a truck and then buy another truck. And then I said, well, this is what I need you to do. I need you to read this book. This is 8 years ago. I need you to read Increase Your Economic IQ, Your Financial IQ by Robert Kiyosaki. All right. And once you read that, this is what I want you to do. I want you to pull your credit score and I want you your credit, and I want you to let me know what those credit bureaus look like. And then the last thing I need you to tell me is how much capital you have to come to the table with. Last time I talked to him, when it came to that. Okay. He has his own truck now. He does very well he makes a really good living off of it. But again, you can't ask me to do business with you based off of entitlement. My relationship to you, it has no bearing on what I do with you as business partner. Especially if you're family and friends. I'm going to put you through more if you're family and friends. Because I can't trust you. Because you want to do business with me based on the fact that you feel like if you do bad business, I'm going to forgive you. No, I'm going to qualify you. I'm going to ask for more than what the bank going to ask for. Okay. And so, again, when you have access to that wealth formula, they want, and again, his ego, remember, first thing I said was humility. His ego said, I'm good. He even said, I'm good verbally. Basically, didn't call me back. I love him like I love him. Some of y'all done met him. He came to one of my events years later. I'm just saying, but that's people grow. You know what I'm saying? People grow from their experiences. We've had conversations, so because man, I really wish I would have took your advice. I'm doing good, but I could have been doing better. And I came to your event, and that event, man, it opened up my eyes to stuff. The stuff that you was trying to take me through, that you taught. He said, I see why people follow you and Kim. And I do it because I love you. I want to make you better, not just make you money. But there's a formula, a wealth formula that wealthy people put people through, and people don't understand because you don't think the same. Billionaires and millionaires don't think the same. That's why one is extremely wealthier than the other, more wealthier. And thousandaires don't think the same as millionaires. Hundredaires don't think the same as thousandaires. People who are unemployment and people who are, or not unemployment, but people who are on welfare don't think the same as thousandaires or multiple thousandaires. They're different philosophies, and you got to hold people accountable. But you also have to protect your time and your resources. Okay. So when you gain access to a billionaire, most billionaires they are not self-centered. They really do desire to help people and share. Millionaires are a little bit different. You got to, like I said, most millionaires, again, they just got there. They don't know how to handle success for most of them. There's a large percentage of millionaires who don't know how to behave as millionaires, as people who have money, because they're new to it. Billionaires, on the other hand, they can't wait to teach it. They can't wait to share it. So all they ask you to do is some stuff that have nothing to do with money. Commit to being humble, which means that you respect everything that they give you all the time. They give you all the resources they give you, willingness to do what's required, follow a simple set of instructions without deviating from the plan. And you go out there and work on your skill set, the ability. If I teach you something, get better at it, master it. And then the hunger. I can't train that. You either want it or you don't. Need to, got to, better. It's got to be something in you that demands that you get it done, or you die with resentment. If you can't see that you will be on your deathbed with resentment, you don't have the hunger for it. If you can say, you know what, I can get through this life, and if I don't do it, I'll be all right, you're not hungry. Okay. Anybody know people who are always talking about what they plans to do, about to do, gonna do, want to do, right? And so them the same type of people, right? So again, that's who you want to be. That they're looking for that student, right? And so I'm just telling you, the person that they're looking for is rare because they're looking for them before they became a millionaire, not just a billionaire. They're looking for them before they became a millionaire. They're looking for them, and that person is rare. That's why when you hear people say that's not fair, it's not about being fair. It's about being just. I'm not going to treat somebody who is going to waste my resources like I would treat somebody who respects them. Like if a person came to me literally with an idea, and let's say Laura came to me with an idea versus somebody who I haven't talked to since Novatech, right? Person hadn't plugged in or nothing. If they both came to me with an idea at the same time, I would take Laura's idea seriously because Laura's been committed, plugged in. Laura's has been faithful, loyal. Laura's been there. And Laura's been trained. And Laura's been coached. Laura's been developed. Laura has been under my tutelage for a while. So I know exactly who I'm dealing with Laura. The other person, not so much. The other person came back because they have an agenda. Laura came because she has an idea that we can win together on. It's the difference. Somebody's trying to come up and somebody's trying to come through. Laura's trying to come through with a win. The other person's trying to come up with influence. So you reward those who, again, who show you what they need to show you. All right. Let's see here. Number 13. The DM can tell you everything you need to know about a person. The DM, the direct message. The DM. When somebody hits you up in your DM, they can tell you exactly, that tells you exactly what you need to know about a person. Okay. And you got the ideal person and you got the not ideal person. You got the perfect person for it. And you got the person who you know exactly that person you don't want to have anything to do with. The person who's not ideal, and just right off the rip, that person they won't come to the DM with respect. They won't speak. They won't acknowledge you. It'd be borderline rude, even though they're not trying to, but they are being rude based on the fact that they don't know how to behave when communicating. They come in and may ask you a question like, "Hey, you got some work, or you got a job, or you got something I could do to make some money." It's just, you know, just direct to the point. No, they'll come and acting familiar as if they know you already. Rude. Just the whole entire situation is not constructed properly, and you pretty much know. Or they come with the script that for a fact they didn't cut and pasted and sent to everybody, and they just change the name on it. And some of them, they doing it so fast to so many people. They forgotten called you Lisa, Jeremy, right? Marva don't look like Jeff, but they sent the same text message they sent to Jeff and to Marva without, and they forgot to change the name. They're doing it so they sent it to so many people. Again, it's all wrong. Not the ideal person. When you have influence and people are calling upon you to do something with them or to ask you for something, it's got to be, just done properly. And so when a person it's sound like when a person realizes that they can't give back what they're looking to take away from you or what they're looking to ask for, and they really show you that when they want an hour of your time and they know they can't give you $10,000 for that hour or $25,000 for that hour or $50,000 for that hour, whatever your hour is worth, and they know they can't get that back to you, right? But they need that hour, but they know that they can't get it. They acknowledge that they can't get it. They realize, that they can't give that back to you. That in itself, guys, that in itself is valuable, to a person who is being asked of something. So when you acknowledge that out the gate, say, hey, look, Jeremy, I'm reaching out to you. And I know a lot of people reach out to you, and I know you don't have time. And I know you probably don't even respond to people, but and you just, when you acknowledge that out the gate, it lets a person know that they know who you are and that they know who they're dealing with. They know how valuable your time is. So when they start off like that, hey, Jeremy, this is Sam. Hey, Jeremy, this is Sonia. Hey, Carly, this is Marva. And I know, again, you get a million of these text messages, and I know your time is valuable, and you start off like that, they appreciate it. Okay. But they appreciate it because you realize that. But the gesture is just the fact that you realize, just the gesture that you mentioned it, right, is very, very valuable for them. And that you acknowledge the time. Okay. And I know you get thousands of text messages like this, and I know you're busy, but ask, and then this is what you do. Ask for as little as possible, okay? And offer as much as you can as a return. Ask for as little as possible. I just need an hour. If you give me an hour of your time, or if you can let me sit in on one of your calls, or if you let me sit in on one of your meetings, I'll stand in silence. And I just want to learn some things from you. And I know I can't afford to pay you to train me, but I know you're successful. I can't afford to pay you, and but whatever I can do, if I can work it off some kind of way, offer. Yeah, is there anything I can do in the office to help you out for a certain period of time, just to make it right? If you asking somebody who's a 7, 8, 9-figure earner for their help, hey, don't ask for it without offering something. People will grant you some time. Again, some people will, if you just did it the right way. You just packaged it the right way. Okay. So show you care. As a matter of fact, when you call them, call a person knowing everything that you can know about that individual. Go to all of their Instagram accounts, social media accounts, get as much intel on them as possible, because you don't know. There may be something that you can offer. Okay. There may be something that you can offer as compensation based off of what you see on their social media pages. I was listening to one dude, he makes a ton of money. He has a dog. And the people actually said, when somebody actually reached out to the dude, say, hey, look, I make clothes for dogs, and I just need some coaching, some guidance. If you give me an hour of your time, or just give me some resources to help me start my business, yeah, I'd be willing to make a whole summer wardrobe of clothes for your dog. And he's like, you know what? My dog likes being naked. But just the fact that that person, said that, I felt compelled to reach back out to that person and show that person some love, right? And so, but it's just, again, just the care, the thought that the person put in to that message before they reached out to that individual and sent that message, right? So be willing to give out way more than what you're asking for, even if that person may not see the full value of it. But they see the gesture. They see that you made an effort, right? And so, but other thing it does is when you tell a person that it lets them, it strokes the ego basically. It lets them know that they're important to you, and that you really appreciate the help. That's a whole entirely different situation. But the other thing about this is that there's a warning label that comes with it. or a note that you can come with it. The more wealthier and less famous a person is, the better your odds are of gaining access to them. Okay. You got all these people who are influencers and stuff like that. The more notoriety they get, the more famous they are, the bigger the ego, the less access you'll gain, the less opportunity you'll get to even get in touch with them. So you got a guy who makes $1 million a year with a sprinkler system company or a landscaping company or construction company, something that people they're not checking for you. But you have a system that you put together that's made you millions of dollars, that made you $500,000 a year, that made you real successful. I made that person real successful. That's the person, because that person is like an inherited millionaire, a person who's an uncelebrated, successful individual. So them being able to mentor, so they're looking for people to mentor and coach. So the less famous that person is, even the sort of famous people, again, the harder it is for you to gain access to them. So the easier it is for you to gain access to them. The more famous they are, the harder. Practice on the people who are very famous, sort of famous, and who knows, you might get lucky, but practice on them. But focus on the people who have money, but they don't have the fame to go with it. The next one is content creator. And so how many of y'all still go to networking events? Okay. And so think about it, when you go to networking events, you go to networking events to do what? Get in front of people, introduce yourself to people, let people know what you do, all that good stuff, right? Well, when you have access to the internet, you have access to people who are all around the world, and you create content and you do videos every day, right? It puts you in a position where people get to know who you are on TikTok. They get to know who you are on YouTube. They get to know who you are on Instagram. They get to know who you are on Snapchat. They get to know who you are on all of these other LinkedIn. They get to know who you are on Facebook, right? And just take that one video that you do every day and repurpose it for each one of those platforms. And guess what? You reach all those people without actually having to go outside. Now, I'm not saying don't go outside, because again, belly to belly interaction is still very, very powerful, especially when you're going to the right places. But learn how to get that content created and get that content out there. When you get great, I'm not saying when you are great, when you get great, one day you'll get great, because that's what you do when you do it, over an extended period of time. When you are getting great at creating content, guys, you become the person that people call, but more importantly, you become the person that people pick up the phone for. Okay? When people see you and they hear you, they see that you committed, you bought that life, you bought your business, they pick up the phone for you. Okay? It's kind of like you have people who stand in line at the club. I don't want to be the person standing in line at the club. I want to own the club. And if I can't own the club, I want to at least get creative enough to where I can get in through the back door. And then they take me straight to VIP. I don't want to be that person who has to finagle my way in. I don't want to have to be and try to coax people in, man. No. I want to be invited. Right. And that's when people know you, they see you, you're visible, right? You become familiar, they become familiar with you. All of a sudden, when you call on them, boom, it gives you the unfair advantage in most worlds. Think about it. You got Logan Paul and his brother, content creators, turned boxers. People who they used to look up to, they boxing in the ring with, making more money they've ever made in their life. They made millions in content creating already, but they built a name so big that they changed the boxing game. Like, you don't even have to be a pro. You can be a novice, but because your following is so big and you can make prize fights that ain't even fights, and people getting tens of millions of dollars, to fight, fight, right? Think about that for a sec. Content creators. You don't think that's an unfair advantage, guys? Again, you're not paying attention to what's happening around you, right? So again, if money is power, power to the people. You like that? That's cute. Miss Bean said that was cute. She giggled a little bit. I got her. So, but power to the people, guys. Empower. When you empower the people, when you out here and you amongst the masses because of your content, you have access to the capital. Okay. Next one. Perfect imperfections. A lot of y'all know that that's a perfect imperfections. That little song by John Legend, All of Me. See, my wife made this beautiful thing for me. So anytime I scan this thing, it plays the song, right? And so there's a part in that song where he talks about loving her perfect imperfections, right? And so I'm not gonna scan it right now. No. Oh, see? And Marv was like, yeah, scan it, dog. No. So this is the thing. So you look at when people see people, like we always teach people, what you see on social media is not real. You know, you see the edited version of people in their life, right? And the people who are extremely successful are the most transparent people out there. So when you look at billionaires, billionaires have no problem rolling up their sleeves, showing you their scars, right? And showing you their flaws. Okay. Because when you show people your scars, show people your flaws, and you show people that you're not perfect, you show people that it don't matter what I've been through. Here's my story. Look where I'm at right now. Look what I persevered through. This is not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it, right? When you show people that you're not perfect, but you're perfect in your imperfections based on you learning, through your process and completing your guys, there's nothing more empowering to a person who don't believe that they can do it because they don't believe that they're you. If they see your imperfections, they see themselves in you. They see the opportunity to win regardless. So think about this for a second. When you look at movies, what's some of the funniest parts of the movies? The blooper reel, the very, very end. You stand up, get ready to walk out, and all of a sudden that screen come back on, you stop in your tracks. Because now you know you're gonna see something funny. You're gonna see how they messed up, right? And so again, they showed you that they didn't do that in one take. They didn't do that in two takes, right? They had to get this right. They had to go through this over and over and over again because somebody not playing their role and somebody not doing their line right. And they finally got it right. You saw the whole entire movie, but the blooper reel was the deal. Okay. So again, don't worry about being perfect. The next one is read the room. Read the room. Read the room. Told you it's going to be a minute. Identify and gain access to rooms with people that are smarter than you and more fluent than you are. Identify and gain access to the rooms with people that are smarter than you and more fluent than you are. Then leave the room when you become the smartest person, or there's no more value to obtain that room, or you become just as affluent than the people who are there. And find another room. And here's a caveat to billionaires where, again, they differentiate themselves from millionaires. Millionaires are still in competition. Billionaires are in collaboration. Billionaires, before they become billionaires, when they leave that room, they don't just leave that room. They leave that room and they invite others to the next room, and the others that they invite are the others that help them increase their value to society. And say, you know what? When I was in that room, I remember this person helped me, so I'm going to invite that person to this room. Collaboration, not competition. Millionaires will come steal all your stuff, right? And won't bring nothing to the table. Steal all your ideas, won't bring nothing to the table. Billionaires, yeah, some that'll do that too. But again, the masses of them don't need to. They already know how to create. They already know they set. They're gonna go get more money. They know how to do that. But they bring deals to the table. Right? I know one of my old mentors. I remember he basically was invited to a ranch and land of a person who A lot of y'all know him as the Shark, Greg Norman, golfer. They bring him maybe 35 deals a month. People bring him at least 35 deals a month. He may only keep 2. He passed the other 33 to 35 amongst his millionaire and other billionaire friends. He don't keep all the deals. Again, because he don't do every deal, but they bring him at least 35 deals a month on average. Think about it for a second. So you hanging around millionaire and billionaire friends of people bringing deals to, and they can't do all the deals, don't want to do all the deals, and all the deals may not even be deals that's in their space. You know, that's not in my wheelhouse. But you know, I got Carla. Carla. This is what Carla's space is. Carla's in that space. I'll send this deal to Carla. Or I'll send this deal to Carly. Right? It don't matter. Right? I got millionaires all around me. I can send deals to any, but they keep coming. So again, read the room. You leave a person in the room that you should have invited to another one. Remember, that person was the reason why you came up in that room, which means that they already had access to information before you got access to it, which means that they had access to people who you probably don't have access to at this moment. So they're gonna come up and they'll pass you up on the way up. But because you left them, they won't lift you up. Okay? So read the room. But just warning, this is a warning. In certain roles, your notoriety will bother people close to you and people that envy you. So you'll have family and friends, or you'll have people who are in that space that your notoriety, okay, will bother them. It'll upset them. It'll unnerve them. Okay. And I'm just telling you, if they're not growing with you guys, they're growing away from you. So this is what you do. Okay. You'll either have to shed them or they'll remove themselves from your company, right? Remember, these are people who are becoming unequally yoked. The more and more you grow, the more and more you grow apart. That's why if you have a spouse, make sure your spouse, right, is growing with you as well. Because at some point in time, you'll go from sleeping with your spouse to sleeping with the enemy. Okay? You'll have a person saying, you know what? You out here at all these meetings, on all these calls, on all these trains, and now you think you too good for me. You and your high sedated friends. You ain't got no time for me and the dog, you know. And you gonna turn around and say, well, you just settling for our old life. I'm tired of this. I don't want to be living in this same space. I told my wife, man, the roof too close to me. Just laying in bed. I'm in my old house. Like the roof was like, I can stand up on my bed and touch it. I'm like, I'm not supposed to do that. The roof too small. And she agreed. The roof's too close. And she agreed. We equally yoked. We gotta get another house. You know, but if we wasn't, she'd be like, no, the house is just fine. You know, why you want a bigger house? Because your friends got a bigger house? Why you want a pool? Because your friends got a pool? Now all of a sudden you arguing about something you shouldn't be arguing about. Makes no sense. But both of y'all think y'all right. And guess what? Both of y'all are right. You're right from your position, she's right from hers, or he's right from his. Grow together or grow apart. All right. But again, don't think you're gonna be beyond judgment, because the more successful you get, the more money you make, the more you'll be judged. Okay. So just understand that. Just learn how to love people that and get ready to leave them. Love them where they're at, but also love them where you leave them. At some point in time, one or two things will happen. They'll appreciate the love that you gave them without judging them, or they'll realize that the door was open for them to walk back through, and they can now catch up at some point in time because you'll help them. But like I said, read the room. Don't be naive about the situation, because when something happens and you end up losing a friend, a family member, a spouse, it's not something that you didn't see coming. It's just something that you elected not to pay attention to, or you elected not to give energy to. All right. The next one is this. Just like there's an ignorance tax, right? There's an exit tax for freedom. There's an exit tax. When I say exit tax, remember I said at some point in time, there's going to have to be a season of separation. You're going to have to remove yourself from people's lives. There are some people who are not for you. Okay. And You're going to have to leave that person, but it will not be without consequence. My wife and I had to pick up and move our whole entire operation. And within that move, we was taxed with loss of friends, loss of associates, loss of mentorship, loss of relationships, we had rumors and inoculation, we had commissions loss, huge losses and opportunity losses, business losses, right? That's a tax for separation. That's an exit tax. But that tax, we had to be willing to pay that tax, right? In order for us to get in a space where we're comfortable, where we can go out here and grow and do our own thing, we had to pay that tax. That's a tax that you have to pay. It's just like relationships. Some of you guys are in love with people who are not equally yoked with you. And it's like, I remember one time when way before I was dating my wife, I had a young lady who I met. We got real close, so close that she moved in with me. Right. And I'm just some things that nobody's perfect. I wasn't perfect. So I was like, you know what? She had two sons, 10 and 12. And she wasn't as ambitious as I was, but I cared about her. So the thing that triggered, I said, you know what? I'm okay. I said, I never needed to deal with a woman who had kids. I want to start my own family. And I also said that I need somebody who's equally open with me for ambitions wise. I said, well, you know what? The kids cool with dads in their life. That's fine. Um, and the ambition thing, I can deal with that because I know being around me in this situation, um, at some point in time, I'll infect her. And if I don't, that's going to be okay too. Okay. And one day, some things happened when the kids were over and I couldn't talk to them. I wasn't allowed to have a conversation with them from a discipline perspective. So in my eyes, that's an automatic no. That's a hard no because you can't have kids in my life that I can't discipline and they're kids in my house. So at that point in time, I was like, you know what? That's a hard no for me. And so I literally had to remove her from the situation from a standpoint of us separating. And there was some emotional taxes that I had to pay on that. Right. But again, had I not paid that tax, I wouldn't have my wife for 18 going on 19 years this year. I would have my two sons. You know what I'm saying? You appreciate it? You say appreciate it? So, but I paid that tax because I got the wrong person, a great person, but I got the wrong person out of my life. And I paid that tax, that emotional tax, and I started all over again. I gave myself a chance to now get to what I have. And I'm gonna just tell you, some of y'all are blocking y'all blessing because you got the wrong people in your life or you're in the wrong situations on purpose. You're going to have to pay the exit tax. Some of y'all are with people right now that want to have kids. You don't want to have kids with that person, but you with them. Right? Some of y'all are with people who are okay with where they're at in life and they're not ambitious and they don't want to grow. They don't want to do businesses on the side. They just want to have a job. And you resent them, but you don't, but again, that's where you're at. And I'm not telling anybody to go divorce nobody, no walk away from your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance. No, I'm just telling you, understand that there are consequences to every decision that you make and every decision that you don't make. The indecision is still a decision, guys. Okay. So exit tax for freedom. Okay. Exit tax for a peace of mind. Exit tax is just that tax you gotta ask yourself, what's on the other side of that tax? Is it worth me paying it? Okay. So and when you pay that extra tax, there's a rebuilding phase that you're going to have to grow through. Like I said, we're growing through our rebuilding phase. We're growing through our exit tax right now. We're repaying, getting that back, that tax that we paid. Okay. The next one is you're not a solopreneur. Don't be a solopreneur. Don't claim being a solopreneur. Be an entrepreneur. Everybody thinks it's cool to say, you know what, I did this on my own. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, how many of y'all know that I was less successful when I did all my marketing myself because I didn't have any time to go out there and actually build a business because I was doing all the marketing myself, right? Omi, again, my VA is very, very important to me and very, very important to my wife in our business. Very, very important to y'all, right? I'm not a solopreneur. I couldn't do this by myself. My wife, again, she plays her role in the business like I play my role in the business. I couldn't do this without my wife. I'm not a solopreneur, right? There are other people and other dynamics are in place. Grant Cardone, I'm not a solo. I got an idea. We pay for the subscription, but again, that's something that I can't do I can't train my people on my own, right? And so stop trying to do everything on your own. I'm just telling you, you think about how many YouTube influencers and influencers out there that have quit influencing. Like they have videos, I quit video because they are out there trying to do everything on their own. They're trying to do all their content on their own, trying to create all their artwork on their own. They're trying to do service all of their subscribers on their own. They're trying to do everything on their own, okay? Instead of empowering and employing people. Guys, you have to be willing to staff your weaknesses and your needs. There's nothing cool about being a one-man game or a one-woman game. Can you make a ton of money by yourself? Yes, but why would you? You know how much life you can get back? How much faster you can make that money? How much more sustainable and scalable it would be if you had other people helping you? People who are Carly does presentations, Laura does presentations, Lashanique does presentations, Marika does presentations, Dr. Arlene does presentations, right? I'm not doing all the presentations. Okay. What's happening is they are doing presentations. They are getting better at presenting. They're getting better at training. Guess what? They also get good. They're getting better at delegating. They're getting better at learning the system because they're within it. They're participating in it. It's a lot of things that are happening. That's happening. Not just me not doing presentations. Okay. So again, if I come up missing for 30 days, a month, a year, again, the show must go on. And if I was a solopreneur, everything would stop. Remember, a lot of y'all used to say this in your presentations, right? But you do the exact opposite. You contradict it. And you say, you know what? A people-dependent business, okay, is not as good as a system-dependent business. If something happens to the person who you depend on, the business goes away. If something happens to a person who put the system together, the system, will keep the business going, growing, and scaling. Think about it for a second. Steve Jobs is no longer here, but the saga continues, right? Apple is still thriving. It's still the most admired company in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's still doing its thing based on the system that he put in place. He wasn't a solopreneur. He had people who did a lot of the work, okay? Because again, he had the vision. So, guys, again, it's don't try to go at this thing alone, okay? As we wrap this thing up, this is the last one, guys. This is the bonus. What's your mantra for 2024? As it pertains to your money, what's your mantra for 2024 as it pertains to your money? Okay. Okay. For me, it's isolate, elevate, and or eliminate B players. Isolate, elevate, and or eliminate B players. Okay. And I'm gonna share some with you. So it's time for us all to upgrade our association. Okay. Remember, the people who you associate with the most, you're going to make the average of their incomes. Your lifestyle is either going to elevate to their lifestyle or it's going to descend to their lifestyle, depending on where they stand in your life, from an economic structure. Okay. When you look at production, though, when you look at impact, though, there's a study, that was done on high performers and low performers. When you look at that study, it was a study based on people who are sitting next to high performers and low performers, A players and B players. Okay. So it said the person who sat next to an A player increased their production by 15%. They outperformed themselves by 15%. Okay. Now, and that's just by proximity. That's not learning from. That's sitting next to, right? Remember, the game is either being sold or not told. The game is being caught, right? Because you're in proximity, right? So just by being in proximity of A players and high performers, your production increased by 15%. Now, and this is at B, the B level. We're not talking about C, D, F players. We're talking about B players. The study showed that when you sit by B players in close proximity, your production decreased by 30%, not 15, by 30%. This is the dragging, right? This is where now, and let me share with you, why, right? So when you let's say when you bring on B players, right? When you bring on B players, it doesn't just decrease your performance by 30% because you're around them. It has an even bigger impact on your overall team. The energy flows through and to everybody, right? Total production goes all the way down when it comes to you bringing on B players alone. Okay. And so you make sure an A player or an high performer, you bring them on because you want them to boost the morale, boost the expectations, boost like people, they see people winning. And so they expect to win based on them being in the same area and proximity of A players and winners. They see people actually doing it. Right. So again, that's where your social proof comes from. Right. You got to make sure you're an A player, guys. You got to put yourself in position. You got to give yourself an introspective look to say, am I a B player or A player? Some of you guys giving yourself, the B player designation would be a boost from where you at. Some of you guys are C players and some of y'all behave like D players. Got some A players on here. But ask yourself really and truly, am I moving the needle forward or backwards for everybody else around me? When people around me, do they get better or do they get worse? Am I A player or am I a B player? So when you have B players in your group, guys, this is what you do. B players are low performers in your group. You want to push to make them better. Okay. Push to make them better or find something that they can do, okay, that will allow them to grow into an A player position. If the position they're in right now, if they're in the wrong seat right now and they're a B player, they're not an A player, push them to become an A player. If you don't see it, push them in a different direction to where they can do something different and still be an A player, or you push them out. Okay. Let's see here. And the other thing, this is how A players are affected. A players don't like being around B players and C players. If they see you giving energy, a lot of energy to B players and C players, A players will leave. That's a fact. And I'm gonna just tell you something about the B players and below. But B players specifically, okay? B players actually ask for the most. B players, they feel entitled. They always have more value internally than they do externally. Like they have more value for themselves than they have for the actual output and what they bring to the table. Okay. They know if they can get an A player to leave, then they don't have to do the work. They don't have to live up to the A player standard and they become the standard. And remember, B players are the most dangerous, because, again, they're almost like, let me say this, they're most dangerous because they're almost like a cancer that you need to cut out before it spreads. Because once a B player who is entitled and who does believe that they're worth more than they bring to the table, it starts to rub off again on everybody around them in a negative way. And these are the people who will invite your people to other groups because they're going to come to your people and be like, hey, man, Lord don't know what she doing. Or man, Jordan got us to something else. Or man, Pastor Bailey got us to something else. You know what? We need to do our own thing. And all of a sudden, that B player has walked away with all your people. That's why you get rid of B players, or you put them in a position again where you force them to recondition themselves and become a part of the team and contributors to the actual environment and the culture. So with that being said, like I said, that was the last thing that I had on the docket. Okay. I wanted to make sure you guys got some really good stuff when it came to, again, mobile mindset. Okay. Again, this is Billionaire Night, Billionaire Mindset Night. And if you guys have any questions about anything that we actually covered tonight, any questions about any of this stuff, before we wrap up, we can go ahead and take a couple questions and then we'll get out of here. So as always, guys, go ahead and put question, okay, and then type in your question you type in question out first. And Carly, if you see any questions, let me know, and then we'll go from there. You're welcome, Marva.
Okay, I'm looking, Mr. Bean. I see.
Yeah, I saw Logan Paul was in WWE. Yeah. Again, it's amazing how you become a person from behind the keyboard that nobody knows, and you become an influencer. You and your brother, now everybody around the world knows you, and you're in high demand. Content creation. Let's see here. All right.
I'm not seeing any questions, Mr. Bean.
Yeah, neither am I. All right. Well, guys, Saturday morning, same line, same time, more people, big impact. Okay. Again, I think Big Brother Dave did this thing today, on the rally call for Grant Cardone. Again, they're gonna have somebody else's fire tomorrow. Wednesday, somebody's fire. Thursday, somebody's gonna be fired. And Friday, somebody's gonna be fired. And Saturday, we're gonna talk about it. Okay. And so again, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time, Monday morning, whether you are part of the actual, a program where you have access on Zoom, or you just plug in on Facebook, just show up, and you never know what you're gonna learn, guys. So with that, love you guys again. Don't know what we did to deserve you guys, but we're gonna always do everything in our power to make sure that we put you guys in a winning position. Make sure you get all your goals and dreams accomplished, or at least equipped to where you can go out there and get it done one day. So see you guys at the top, see you guys at the bank, see you guys at the beach, and definitely see you guys on Saturday morning. Take care, guys. Bye-bye for now.